Everybody, this is Dan. My name is Dan Peterson. I own Cerberus LiveScan, and today we're going to talk about how to make a NFA item. So, if you want to make your own SBR, your own silencer, the process is called a Form One. We're going to do it through eForms, and we're going to work through what that process looks like. Before we get started, if you like what we're doing, hit that like and share or subscribe button on whatever platform that you're on, whether it's Spotify, YouTube, or any of the RSS feeds that we're putting out there. That helps us grow a little bit. And if you have something you want to hear about or something you want us to talk about, please send me an email, dan@petersonfarmsusa.com, and we'll get it on the list of things to talk through. So with that, let's get into it. So I've navigated to the eForms website, eforms.atf.gov, and this is where the process is going to begin. You can do it on paper. Don't recommend it. The eForm process is streamlined, reduces risk and errors, and also it speeds it up dramatically. Things are coming back in days to weeks as opposed to months and years on the paper stuff. So I personally do not do any paper unless we absolutely have to on, say, a private party Form 4. Now, if you want to learn more about what the different form types are, go back into our episodes. I think it's episode 3 or 5. It'll talk through what the different form types are. So if you want a deeper understanding of what those forms are and different type of transactions, that's episode 4 of who the transferees are, whether it's a trust, an individual, corporation, what those things all look like and mean. So if you want to go back in those episodes, and then the other piece is this green button on here on create an eForm account. We talk about that in episode 2 and episode, I think, 5 on how to register an account, whether it's for the FFL or for the client. So in this case, episode 5 is probably the preferred one because this really is the client-facing application. A Form 1 is used when a citizen or civilian, non-licensee, is going to make a firearm and add it to the National Firearms Act registry. So those would be a silencer, those would be a short barrel rifle, those would be a short barrel shotgun, any other weapon type piece. They are going to convert and manufacture their own item to go from a type 2, a shotgun, a pistol, a lower, whatever, and transition it to something else, an SBR, SBS, whatever. They can do that. Second Amendment allows it. ATF has the process to do it. It's called a Form 1. So we are register again. You have to have an eForms account to do this, and this is the customer's eForm account for those businesses that are helping out and assisting with it or offering it as a service. The customer has to have an account. Otherwise, we go into login. Accept the disclaimer. I have a password program that allows me to fill this and put it in, so it saves everything. Keeper, highly recommend it. I not sponsored by them. I just use the snot out of it. So great program for keeping things secure and alphabet soup on the passwords. If you haven't been in here, if you haven't logged in, this My Profile piece, you can click on that in the upper left. That'll show where the emails are all going and the information and address type stuff. So if you move or whatever, that's where you'd update all those pieces. But My Profile is important for the FFLs. Going back on some of the other episodes we've done, you can also link up your FFL and your EIN inside of there. Episode 2, you want to check that out of this to get that information. But that's how you get inventory and be able to do Form 3s and Form 4s for customers and whatnot. So My Profile, important piece. So we're going to click on Form 1. Let this load. And it's right off the bat, it's going to ask us what type of transaction we're doing. So vast majority are probably going to be either individual or trust. The trust timelines on Form 4s as of late, and today is January 8th of 2025. I have seen 3 and 4 day trust transactions coming back on new trusts. So ATF has clearly changed something at the beginning of the year. We haven't seen a little bit at the end of last year of how they're processing them. So the trust stuff is going way faster. And I also believe they're doing some bulk transactions with them too, but I don't have any proof of that. But anyway, we would pick one or the other. Individual, I'm going to do next. This is the instructions on the form. You can navigate on the bottom on next, or you can click across the top line. I have gotten used to clicking on the blue on the train stops. So this will be a $200, and this internal control number is really for your reference. So this is going to be, I'm going to put episode 18 podcast sample So this is where I would put, excuse me, this is where I would put the make and model. I'd put the serial number. I'd put whatever information for your reference, SBR, 300 black SBR, whatever, right? It's really purely for you, for reference as you go through it. The issue is once you submit said form, you cannot change it. So I go next. This auto fills my information from what's in the profile on a form one. So this is important from the FFL standpoint that you have to be, the customer has to be logged into their account. And this is what they will pull through automatically. So you can't change this on an individual when you do. So we'd answer these questions. Answer the questions. You can also do end tab to speed things up to fill that stuff out. And then these other ones down here, country of citizenship. So US, right? I'm a US citizen. From here, then I would go to responsible persons. Notice there's a red triangle here, errors on the form, and then there's an action button on the far right-hand side. And because it's individual, I can only have one person on here. If it were a trust, I would also be able to add responsible, and I'd click on this actions button. And then I'd fill this out. So some of this, the brownish stuff is pulled in from the previous step, or in this case from my profile, but it's pulled in from the previous step. So these you cannot edit, you cannot adjust, you can't do anything with them. The only thing in the form here, you'd have to go back into the previous step or back into the profile and make those adjustments if they are incorrect. So that's why I recommend you start at profile and make sure that everything is right there. For any NFA application, I basically need a photo and fingerprints. Strongly recommend you get those from Cerberus LiveScan. Great product. Highly recommend it. But you can do the photos and crop them from there. You can also build the EFTs and scan the digital fingerprints out of LiveScan, out of Cerberus LiveScan, and import them in. So I would fill those pieces out. I would browse to where they are and upload them. If you got your fingerprints, if you're a consumer, if you got your fingerprints from someplace, UPS store, whatever, or you have them from a previous transaction or you bought them, this is where you'd upload them. The Cerberus system is compliant with the ATF system. Some of the other ETFs may or may not be, because if they aren't familiar with the ATF requirements and what they're looking for, the file can fail on upload. It's going to give you a picture box once you upload. It says valid package with your name and date of birth. And if it gives you anything but that, it will be an error code that you have to fix in that EFT, and you have to go back to your vendor that got it. So we would fill these pieces out. Most of these are drop downs, so it's difficult to screw that up, but you'd fill those pieces out. Here, then I'd go to Clio, or again, I could click next. I'd fill out my chief law enforcement. That can be local PD, that can be county sheriff, that can be state patrol or attorney general, depending on how you want to pursue that. That individual an agency must be notified at the end of this transaction that you are making or submitting for an NFA item. Most times, if you're the Cerberus guys, will email that form to their Clio for you. But technically, it is the customer's responsibility to fill it out. So you'd have to fill out the agency information on here, make sure it all is correct. Name of the official. So this would be the sheriff's name. This would be the title of sheriff, as you can see, and then department that we're going to put in here. From here, then we would go to line item, and we're going to add a firearm. So I am going to, if you do a lot of these, you can save templates, but I'm just going to go through. So I'm going to put American Defense in here. They are across town from us and a good partner that we work with. So I'm going to put in the manufacturer's name. I will let you research on what you feel and how you interpret. The pistol brace ruling that put out allows for adoption of original manufacturer markings. So if you want to look at how the injunctions and how the vacates are all playing out, I'll let you do that. We have been using the original manufacturer markings without issue because it makes more sense. So anyway, put in your manufacturer. If you are doing it as the trust name or as yourself, you'll have to do a couple extra steps here to say add to or as an unknown or new manufacturer, and you can put it in. So this is, so I'm gonna verify the manufacturer, manufacturer's verified, and then United States, and then I'm gonna go next. There's some instructions on here on based on what you're doing. and we're going to go forward. So from here, then I am going to pick what I'm building, a silencer, a short barrel, a machine gun, whatever. I'm going to do a short barrel rifle. I'm going to grab one of their lowers. I'm going to pick my caliber that I'm going to use. I'm going to type in from the weapon that we're building. I am going to type in the information. So length of barrel, barrel on an AR is from bolt face to last fixed piece of steel. So that's not the flash hider and not the muzzle brake. That is the end of the barrel. It can be the threads. It can be the muzzle brake if you pin and weld it. But odds are, if you're pinning and welding it, you're not doing an SBR. So you want the shortest combination that you're going to use this thing. Shortest barrel with the largest caliber is what you're after on this deal. So a way to measure the barrel is either simply use the manufacturer barrel length, because obviously if you're working on building it, you probably know what that is. But otherwise, to verify it, you can take a cleaning rod, let the bolt go forward, take a cleaning rod down the barrel, mark it with a Sharpie or your finger, and then measure that as you push the cleaning rod in from the front to the end of the barrel threads. Last fixed piece of steel, permanent, that is there, not muzzle brake, not flash hider. So just keep that in mind. Overall length is the shortest collapsible configuration that you have. So if you have a folding stock, if you have a collapsible stock on an AR style, you have to measure to the shortest compact, and that is affect the overall. So I will measure with the muzzle brake, with the collapsed stock, etc. on the overall length. It's got to be close. Serial number is just that, the serial number that you have on the lower. You type in the description. So this one, I am simply going to put SBR and then party lines on Y. So investment and all other lawful purposes. If I could spell today. Okay, that, right? So that's how you fill that piece out. Obviously, the barrel length and overall lengths are there. But again, barrel length, have to harp on it a little bit. Base of bolt to last permanent or fixed steel. So typically that's the barrel threads on an AR platform. Pin and welded, you would go to the tip. If a pin and welded muzzle brake or flash hider, to the tip of the muzzle brake, and then everything else basically the end of the outside of the barrel. Okay. Let's do this. I'll do 10.5, 24, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next, it's going to ask me for a photo. So I have to upload a photo of the serial number or the roll mark of the firearm. And they do that so that you don't typo or fat finger something or accidentally type in the model number incorrectly or whatever. It's a verification check on what it is. So when I do this and help customers with it, I will take a picture of basically the magwell and the roll mark, and that is all I upload. I do not upload the overall picture of it. I do not upload the overall firearm. I simply do the serial number and the firearm data there. If you are doing a silencer, typically that you don't have made yet because you shouldn't be making it yet, and there's no 80% or nothing to adapt from. So they want some kind of a sketch, typically, and it can just be a hand pencil sketch, overall dimension, diameter, length. It's about all they really need. So, so that is what you would put on that as a PDF or a picture of it. But otherwise, for vast majority of these are pistols that become SBRs. So you take a picture of the roll mark on the magwell and move on. Electronic documents on an individual is typically nothing. There are some special use cases here for PCS orders or duty use and some other things, but for the vast majority of people, this is nothing. If this were a trust, this is where I would upload the signed and notarized version of my trust, and I would pick this second one. So corporation, trust, other legal, and that's what I would put in there. So that needs to be the full version, current version, signed, notarized, scanned back into the trust. And again, on a trust, if you the 24-month exemption is a neat tool that will allow you to kind of skip legal review. if nothing has materially changed in your trust. And that also is an episode, I think it's like 15 or 14, something like that. We'll talk through the 24-month exemption on a trust and how that applies to either a Form 1 or a Form 4. But if it is a trust, corporation, legal. If it is individual, skip this step. I will then go to verify, work down, review all these questions, double checking all this stuff. I will verify and go to next. I had errors on the form because I didn't fill this out all the way, but this is where I would go to then. So I'd fix these things. I can either click on these to take them back, or I can click on the train stops above and go back to them. I do certify, I do the pay window, and then it'll pop up the $200 tax stamp payment, pay with a credit card. You get a receipt from that, and then you go to sign and submit on this one. And this is where you need your PIN as the customer or the account holder on this thing. The customer would key in their PIN and put it in. And from there, you wait. So you get an email from the ATF saying it's been submitted. That email I then also take and forward to the Clio that was listed in the Clio step. And a notification to that. I work to get their email addresses, or you can mail it to them and print it and mail it to them, whatever works for you, or drop it off if you're local, or very local to it, if that works for you. That's how that works. So if you're a Cerberus user, we have the Form 1 support inside of here. If you're going to offer that to your customers, this is inside the Autofiller. Should look familiar to Cerberus users, but again, we can help register a new account. That'll fill the data that we harvested from the driver's license in a couple clicks. They would fill out the secret question, password, PIN, and keep that for themselves. But we can do Form 1s and we can do individuals or trusts on the configuration pieces of it. And again, we would work with this. We'd work and assist the customer through the Form 1 process. We would open up our autofiller from eForms. We would navigate to and log in. They would log into their account. And we'd go through basically what I just did. And then instead of key punching in the data, we'd punch these pieces in on here to autofill the firearm data and the information for us so that we don't have any errors or transcription error pieces. So autofiller does about 80-85% of the data. You still got to key punch in the firearm data for the most part. Some of the firearm will fill, but currently it's based on how the ATF fills their drop-down boxes. It's frustrating, to say the least. So Cerberus has the tools to do it, and you can offer it as a service to your customers. But again, they log into their account. They are using their credentials. You are assisting with it for some data accuracy, and then you upload the EFT and the photo that you took from inside of Cerberus. So if you like what we're doing, my name is Dan. I own Cerberus Software. We have our website is Peterson Farms USA, and that is our retail operations for our O7 in Muskego, Wisconsin. And that's our website. There you can learn more about our two main softwares, Cerberus LiveScan and Merlin. LiveScan here is digital fingerprinting for FFLs, predominantly targeted at eForms and the NFA process, but you can do digital fingerprints, EFTs. We can do responsible person questionnaires. We have a partnership with 199 Trust to help make the trusts as well. So one-stop shop, your customer, your data, and we're closing in on 600 locations nationwide. Merlin is our other software. It is a distribution search tool. So you can search your warehouses and suppliers. We have currently 22 of them that we can search from. We are the only ones with Allen Arms, to my knowledge. And then recently we added Hicks and Kinsey's, and we're working on a couple other ones. So countrywide, we just got some credentials to work through that. Hoping to have that done by the end of the month here, January 2025, and get that in place. So this is the current list of all them. You can search from 22 different wholesalers and suppliers. Awesome tool, wicked fast. And then you can order from 10 of them. Again, if you like what we're doing, hit that like and share and subscribe. And then you'll be notified as we make new episodes. I'm going to try to more effort to have more frequent content on here because I got a lot of good feedback and praise from it. If there's a topic you want to see, please reach out to me, Dan at Peterson Farms USA, and send us what you're looking for. So with that, thank you for joining us and look forward to talking to you next time.